tastes like burning.
Okay, so this week I wanted to kind of talk about something very near and dear to my heart, and especially with the new generation of consoles just around the corner, and things are going to be changing as far as they're concerned, is achievements and trophies. Now, I'm not so big on trophies because you can't really quantify how well you've done the way you can with Gamerscore as far as like you get an actual numerical score. You just get these different levels of trophy like bronze, silver, gold, platinum, stuff like that. But with achievements, like everyone else, whenever these came out, I wasn't quite sure what they were. Exactly the same way that developers didn't really know what they were. I mean, the game that comes to mind easiest is King Kong. You beat a chapter, you get 100 points. Beat the whole game, you get 1,000 points. I mean, it's one of those games where people are still going and finding it just to boost their gamer score right now. I'm not gonna lie, I even did it just to beat one of my friends and their gamer score. But it is something where it does become kind of an addiction over time. I mean, you go and find yourself doing these random things that you probably wouldn't normally be doing within the game just to hear that little ding sound that's just so ridiculously rewarding. And I think they're absolutely brilliant in that they give gamers more of a reason to go back and play the game again and again to get these small achievements. But there is also kind of the darker side. Well, I say darker side, it's more the downside to achievements, where when you go back and replay the games again, despite how much you love the game, like I recently went back and tried to replay through the original BioShock and Alan Wake, two of my favorite games of this past generation, and I found it really, really hard to get that same sense of reward for completing a level or for going through all of that, what I just went through in the game, and not actually getting anything for it. And I think that's really the downside to achievements, is that we expect all this reward for the things that we do normally in games and have been for generations of consoles now. But we expect to have that little thing pop up in the corner or come across the bottom saying, we've achieved this, just so we can go to our friends and say, yeah, look at what I did, look at my score compared to your score. Stuff like that. It's creating competitiveness where there isn't competitiveness. It's really kind of weird. But the downside to me is that it makes it harder for me to go back and play these games that I did once love, because I've become so accustomed to the way that achievements work within the game that if I complete a chapter, I get a reward. It's dangling the bait out there in front of the fish and waiting for him to latch on. If there's nothing on the hook, the fish isn't going to go for it. And that's really what it is for gamers nowadays, is because if there's not a reward, we're not going to go back and replay it. Now, there are some games where they just have these ridiculous achievements, like Gears of War 2, you had to kill like 5 million or 50 million enemies to get like 60 points. It's just ridiculous things to kind of pad the game and make you go back and play it again and again for those completionists out there. But one thing that I am happy about is some of the biggest games this year, like The Last of Us, BioShock Infinite, and Tomb Raider, three of my favorite games so far this year, have done something a little different with achievements and trophies, and I really hope that this is more where we're going to be going as far as games in the next generation, to kind of wean us off of, you complete a chapter, you get a reward. It's more, you get achievements for doing specific things within the game that you actually normally would do, like kill so many enemies with this, or do this, or find this. Things like that. Things like that I can appreciate, because it's actually rewarding you for going out of your way to find certain things, especially BioShock Infinite. You find all the Vigors, you find all the Voxophones, you get an achievement for going that extra mile. Not just, oh, you completed this area, here's 20 gamer points. I like that they're changing the dynamic of achievements and trophies. I mean, I played through The Last of Us, I got 2 trophies for the entirety of the game. And that was where I think I found all the places where I can pick the lock and for completing the game. And there are even trophies in that game where you actually have to go back and replay the game again just to get those trophies. And I think that's wonderful. I think that's brilliant, because because of what we've been through for the past, say, 7, 8 years now with achievements, where we've all become accustomed to how they work and getting that instant gratification. it makes it harder for me to even go back and play old classic games like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 games, because I know I'm not going to get that same satisfaction for completing a certain quest. I'm not going to get that instant gratification unless I change my text message sound to an achievement unlocked. And it's something that I really want to see differently within the new consoles, and from what I've been hearing, they are going to change the way that achievements are dynamically introduced throughout the game, and they can even be customizable to the individual player. And I think that's going to be great, because right now, achievements, while they are great, and trophies, I hope will progress to more of that kind of achievement status that we have comparatively between the Xbox and the PlayStation. I hope that they will continue to evolve with the next generation so that the games are still rewarding, but you don't get that same instant gratification that you would unless you absolutely, forcefully find your way of doing it, and you deserve it.
Look at all these brownies.